When you have a supersaturated solution and you drop one crystal into it, the whole thing crystallizes.
It was April of 1968, and Dr. King had just been assassinated. A young secular activist, Arthur Waskow, was on the streets of D.C. supporting a grassroots uprising when the army was sent in.
And then came the first night of Passover, and I walked home to get ready for the Seder, and that meant walking past the army. And a Jeep with a machine gun pointed at the block I lived on. And my kishkis, my guts, began to say, this is Pharaoh's army, to celebrate liberation for Pharaoh, and this is Pharaoh's army. Oh, God.
1 year later, this revelation became the original Freedom Seder, organized by Waskow, the first time a Passover Seder included the liberation narrative of a people in addition to the ancient Israelites. A seed crystal dropped into the supersaturated solution of the day, the Freedom Seder sparked a revolution of Passover observance and Judaism as a whole. And it set Arthur off on a path that would lead to the founding of the Shalom Center in 1983. From the start, the Shalom Center has served as a voice of prophetic Judaism, breathing fresh air into our ancient calendar, holidays, and traditions. From anti-nuclearization sukkah builds, to anti-occupation West Bank olive tree planting, to Occupy Yom Kippur services in Zuccotti Park. From the full inclusion of LGBTQ+ Jews in Jewish life, to the full inclusion of all of creation in a Jewish earth-based consciousness and climate response. Where the Shalom Center forged a path Jews of conscience have walked. The Shalom Center has played a role in helping to establish a number of progressive Judaism's most impactful organizations. It has helped to shape many of its leaders. It has offered new ways of thinking, and it has inspired new ways to act. For decades, the Shalom Center has offered sacred seed crystals to point the way towards transforming the crises we face into healing for good. And we're just getting started. Today, the crises remain many, growing in speed and intensity. So we are prioritizing the most foundational system-level change, that of the soul, with an understanding that the many crises we face are symptoms of a root spiritual crisis, and a belief that healing the core spiritual structures upstream will lead to the healing of the symptom crises downstream. Together, we are activating the prophetic spirit of the Hebrew calendar, reimagining how American Jews celebrate Jewish holidays and act for justice. Through activist festivals known as Actifests, we are building a strategic, collaborative movement for sacred justice. What if, on Yom Kippur afternoon, this is the fast gatherings happened all across the country, living out the holiday's prophetic call to actually feed the hungry and make sure your neighbors have the clothes they need and your community has safe housing? What if, on Passover, all who are hungry, of body or spirit, ate together at joyous freedom seders on sacred city streets? Or on Tisha B'Av, those impacted by gun violence helped us melt down our weapons into trowels and tools to plant planet Earth. This is Actifests, the seed crystals of the Shalom Center's next chapter, stewarding a national movement for public, prophetic action, rooted in the Jewish calendar, inspired by the legacy of our own tradition and those who came before, offering a path into Judaism's next era. We can't wait for you to join us.